welcome to your deep dive. Today we're taking a page from history
Okay.
to tackle this whole AI and healthcare thing.
All right.
And get this, our main source. It actually uses the Apollo 13 mission as a comparison point.
Yeah, it's funny because when you think about Apollo 13, you think about space exploration, right? But it actually offers a really, really relevant framework for thinking about AI development.
Totally. Especially in a field like healthcare where the stakes are,
Absolutely, yeah.
So for anyone who isn't familiar with Apollo 13 or needs a little refresher, can you set the scene for us?
For sure. So Apollo 13 was supposed to be America's third mission to land on the moon.
Right.
But during the journey, an oxygen tank exploded.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this wasn't some freak accident. It turned out that there was this seemingly small defect in the oxygen tank that wasn't properly addressed.
Interesting.
Yeah, they didn't catch it or didn't fully address it in the pre-launch checks. And it ended up snowballing into this massive near catastrophe.
Wow, so a seemingly small technical glitch could have had these huge, disastrous ripple effects.
Exactly, and that's exactly the point this article is trying to make about AI in healthcare, right? Like, imagine...
Because what seems minor at first can become a huge problem later.
Precisely. Especially in healthcare where you're dealing with people's lives. It's not just about a mission going wrong. It's about actual life and death situations.
Okay, so let's talk about those parallels to AI in healthcare then.
Mm-hmm.
The article draws this stark comparison between Apollo 13's oxygen tank and these, unvalidated AI systems.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Sure. The idea is that just like that oxygen tank, an AI system, especially one that hasn't been rigorously vetted and tested, could have hidden flaws or vulnerabilities, right?
And we might not even be aware of them until
It's too late, until it's under pressure.
Right, because everything might seem fine in a controlled test environment.
Exactly. And then, boom, you get into a real-world scenario with all these unpredictable variables.
Like in a real hospital with real patients.
Exactly. And suddenly, that AI is making decisions that impact people's well-being, potentially even their lives, based on incomplete or biased data.
Okay, so rigorous validation, that seems to be the key phrase here. What does that actually look like, though, when we're talking about AI systems, especially in a field as complex as healthcare?
So it's not just about, testing the AI in some idealized bubble.
Right.
It's got to be put through the ringer, tested on diverse data sets.
Right, data that reflects the real world.
Exactly, data that reflects the real world, the messiness of real patient data.
Yeah, different ages, backgrounds, medical histories.
All of it. We need to know that the AI can handle curveballs, can deal with incomplete information.
Make judgment calls, almost.
Well, not exactly judgment calls, but be able to process those nuances and arrive at a conclusion that's still, safe and reliable.
So rigorous testing is essential, but it also sounds like ongoing monitoring is critical, right? We can't just test it in the lab and then set it loose.
Absolutely. It's think of it like launching a satellite. You don't just launch it and hope for the best, right? You constantly monitor its trajectory, make adjustments as needed.
So we need that constant feedback loop.
Yes. We need people, healthcare professionals, to be constantly evaluating the AI's output, understanding its limitations, and using their own expertise to make the final call.
It's about finding that balance, right?
Yes.
Harnessing the power of AI without losing sight of the fact that human judgment, especially in healthcare, is irreplaceable.
100%. And that's what I think is so brilliant about this article. It doesn't shy away from the potential of AI, but it also doesn't pretend that technology is some kind of magic bullet.
Right.
It recognizes that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or, it can be misused.
And the responsibility ultimately falls on us.
Exactly.
The humans behind the technology.
We're the ones who have to ensure that it's being used ethically, responsibly, and most importantly, safely.
This has been a fascinating deep dive, to say the least. Any parting thoughts for our listeners out there? What should they be taking away from this?
I'd say the biggest takeaway here, the thing that stuck with me, is this. Vigilance. Just like with Apollo 13, where that constant vigilance, that commitment to getting things right, ultimately saved those astronauts' lives.
Yeah.
We need that same level of commitment when it comes to AI and healthcare. It's about meticulousness. It's about constantly questioning and reevaluating.
It's about respecting the complexity of the human body and understanding that technology, as amazing as it is only part of the solution.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that's your deep dive for today. Until next time, keep those questions coming, keep those minds open, and as always, keep learning.